This is Polaroid Color 600 beta film. The reason this stuff exists is because when the second Polaroid company was founded, they had to relearn how to make the film. So the new Polaroid company started a beta film program where you could sign up and test out the new film before a new batch was released, so that they could tweak the chemistry and make sure it was just right. Judging by the fact that there's very little information about this program online, and that the QR code on these packs leads to a dead website, I'm pretty sure the program is over. I, however, managed to win an eBay auction for 3 packs of this stuff, and I happen to own a Polaroid 600 camera. So let's see if this stuff still works. By the way, the production date it says on the side of these is October of 2019. Alright, and the dark slide on it says, "Make a splash, use the flash." Let's insert it into the camera. Cool, and now it's ready to shoot. And because this is an EXP video, I'm also going to be documenting my experience shooting with this film in an experimental way. The first photo I took was around golden hour. I went outside and walked to a playground to see if I could find something colorful to shoot, so that I could test out how this film looked. In the brightest part of the image, the sky, I noticed a slight, dull red cast. Although it was golden hour, the light was pretty low, and so the area I was shooting was in the shade. This caused the camera to do a longer exposure, which meant that the overall image is blurry. For my next shot, I intend to use the flash so that I can see what the pictures look like when there's not as much motion blur. The next picture I took was of some orchids on my kitchen table, which was taken on the same day as the first picture. The picture turned out pretty good, certainly more sharp than the first one, but the color appears to be greenish yellow across the entire thing. It's almost like the color of my kitchen wall was applied to the entire image. The third photo was completely incidental. I glanced outside and noticed that the light from the setting sun was being captured perfectly by some clouds hovering above my house. I ran upstairs with my Polaroid camera in my arms and took a picture. Out of the 3 I've taken so far, this is hands down my favorite one. The overall mood of it is just so nice, and although I wish I got a little bit more sky in the picture, there is a certain amount of balance between the silhouetted trees and the warm glow of the sky, which minutes later was completely gone. The next 2 pictures have a very specific inspiration: liminal spaces. For those unfamiliar, liminal spaces are transitional spaces, such as hallways or airports, that are usually designed to accommodate a lot of people. However, a strong sense of unease can be brought on if you go to one of these places and there is absolutely nobody around. So, in search of one of these places, I hopped on a bus bound for a university I live by. Fittingly, there was pretty much nobody else on the bus on the way there. As I approached my destination, I was struck by the sheer lack of people, and eventually, I arrived there. I arrived at the tunnels, dominated by fluorescent lighting and lined by thousands of lockers. Not a soul was in sight, either left or right down these halls. The actual picture I took, though, doesn't quite have the liminal space vibe. I think the fact that most liminal space pictures look like they were taken using a BlackBerry in 2006 probably adds something to the creepiness factor, and a Polaroid just kind of doesn't quite fit that. On my way home, I stopped at a parking garage and decided to try my hand again at another liminal space picture. If you spend any amount of time looking at liminal space pictures, you'll notice that a hallmark of them is pillars. this one, in my opinion, is a little bit more effective at evoking the unease that I'm looking for. Now, thus far, the pack has been pretty dark in terms of the lighting, so for the last 3 shots, I wanted to go outside in broad daylight to take some pictures of buildings. The first shot was of a church. Unfortunately, the sun wasn't shining on the front of it, instead on the side, so I tried using the exposure compensation to make the front a little more visible, which ended up kind of blowing out the sky. The second shot was of the side of a museum at an oblique angle. There's not much to say about this one except for the fact that the sky looks nice and blue. And the third shot was of another church, this one with a copper roof and brick construction. Something I noticed with all 3 of these pictures is that they have a slight pinkish-red color cast over them. My best guess as to why this happened is because it was a somewhat warm day outside, which tends to cause this pinkish-red color cast over any Polaroid image. I think out of the 3 shots, the first shot of that church made of stone is my favorite. And that concludes the entire pack of the Polaroid beta film. I think out of every picture I took, my favorite one is either the stone cathedral or the sunset picture. I really can't say which one is better. Overall, under average lighting conditions, the film seems to have a slight yellowish color cast. Under bright conditions, it has a pinkish red color cast. And then in darkness, it's actually pretty accurate to real-life color. If you ask me, the $70 I paid for these 3 packs of film was well spent. I quite like it. It still works, and it makes nice pictures, if you're any good at taking them, that is.
My closing thoughts are that if you can get your hands on beta Polaroid film, it's still worth shooting as of 2021, but because it's expired, it might not be possible to experience this piece of Polaroid's history given a few years. It, as well as the tape recorder and the Polaroid company as a whole, will join the slowly growing pantheon of forgotten analog technology that changed the way we interact with the world and each other forever. But despite their impact, they will simply be lost to time. Thanks for watching, everybody.